Good morning, friends. It's the second Sunday after Trinity. We had Trinity Sunday and Corpus Christi, and now the second Sunday after Trinity, the second half of the church year, the time to just reflect on one idea at a Sunday, the next idea on another Sunday, and really cement these into our being so they become practically useful for us. These ideas won't really change your life until you can see a way to work with them, and you can see a way to really incorporate them in everything that you do. And then your life will gradually change. It's the great test that you can do yourself, personally, for you. The intent is God as light. God as light. And in both the Epistle and the Gospel, which we'll hear about in a moment, it's a strong connection indicated between the Father and the Christ. And Jesus continually talked about this to his disciples, whether they really understood the deep significance or not. We look at the collect, as always, to see what the key point is in this intent of God as light. And it's set out beautifully clearly. A Father of light, in whom is no darkness at all. May our hearts be irradiated by the glory of thy divine love. And now here's a really critical aspect of today, that we may ever shine as beacons amid the stormy sea of life. So that's a wonderful image, isn't it? Like a lighthouse, like a fire on a hill. We're a beacon, a spiritual beacon. But now we're connected with another idea, which indicates how this is all part of an interconnected plan. That through us, we are beacons of light. That through us, the weary and tempest-driven souls may be guided to the haven where they would be. In other words, they are attracted to the light in us, which is coming from the Father, coming from Christ. And the people that would come to us as a result, for whatever reason, whether they can discern it or not, and they may rest in the eternal sunlight of thy holy presence. So here's an idea which is very powerful. We are asking to be illuminated much more brightly so that we can act as a fire on the hill, a lighthouse, a beacon. And then when people are in our presence, the light that's coming from the Father, from the Christ, they then are bathed in that, and they are furthermore illuminated in their own way. And so you can start to see the effect of a group of people, Christians, who are operating in this sort of way. You can imagine beacons of light all over the planet, and their comings and goings, as long as they just recall this from time to time, just to turn the wick up just a little bit when they're talking with people, interacting with people. And so this is God as light. This is the Father and the Son. And then in the epistle, we've got it from the Epistle General of St. John. So this is not John's Gospel, but another letter that John has written. That which ye have seen and heard, declare we unto you, that we also may have fellowship with us. Again, it's the idea. Here we are talking about, that John is talking about. You've heard us talking about Jesus. You might also have seen him. You might be really dedicated to the message that he's given. And now we're all connected again. This idea of being, even though spread out physically, this idea of being interconnected as a Christian community. And then St. John goes on to write, we say we have fellowship with him and we are deeply imbued in his light. And for those of you who say, oh, well, we're not too sure, we're thinking about it, he's encouraging them to come into the light of this idea and encouraging them to really blossom and take advantage of it. So, as it talks about in the Gospel, Just take advantage of it while it's here. So let's look at the gospel. Jesus is talking, and now he paints the whole picture. He says, if I be lifted up from the earth, I'll draw all of you with me. Again is the connection, the interconnection of everyone. And so he says, while I'm with you, take advantage of what I'm saying and what I am. I am the light that's come into the world, but it's my Father's light. I speak, says Jesus, with the words that my Father gives me. If you see me, you see the Father. For while anyone who's walking in darkness wants to get out of the darkness, connect with me spiritually. Connect with me spiritually. And then he talks about believing or not believing, or faith and not, or whatever. And then he says, he that believeth on me, believeth not on me only, but on him that sent me. So now we have this lovely spiritual, deep mystery. We believe in the Christ, we are connected to the Father. Everything that Jesus did was coming from the Father, magnified by the Christ. That was his journey on earth. And that's part of our journey, if we choose to do it, as Christians. So how does all this work? We have God as light as the central intent. We think about it as a beacon which illuminates us internally, but not just us, everyone else on the same journey. And we think about, with that light, with that intent within us, every individual that we meet gets some of that and is also illuminated. It comes from the Father to the Son to us and through the whole community. So here we are at the start of Trinity, the start of the Sundays where we learn lessons. And we learn about this particular lesson right at the start, on the second Sunday of the Trinity, about us being influential and how we be influential and what is the effect of us being influential with this light within us. So it really sets the scene, it sets the intent, it sets the flavour for the whole of Trinity. And it's a marvellous way to start this 25 or so Sundays as we're leading into the second half of the year. Try these ideas out during the week. I commend them to you really strongly, and really make them work for you so that your step is a little lighter, there's a little spring in your step as you go about things, as you feel the light in your heart and connect with other people in the same way. That's not stopped.
Isn't it?
I'm going to push the button.